Today's lesson on life is marriage is good. Okay, we just had an episode last week on the single life, but today I'm married and I have a couple of people who are married too, and we're going to talk about why marriage is good. So welcome to the show, Mr. Michael and Shakita Stagg. I love seeing you guys around. I know you've told me, like people say, you know, you guys just are a role model for a number of couples, and I wanted to bring you in. So thank you so much for doing this and being on the show. Tell us a little bit about how you guys met.
Well, I met her when I was about in my 20s, and she was about in her teens, and she didn't like me. That's 25, 27 years later.
Wow.
I saw her in my dream. I got tired. I said, Lord, I need somebody in my life. And he gave me that. He showed me to somebody. And then my cousin came through one day. We was standing outside, and she was with him. And she introduced me, and I was like, I know her from somewhere. She said, you don't know me. I just came here. I said, well, God done showed me that you're going to be my wife, and I ain't say no more to her. I said, I'm going to give you my number. You call me, there'll be something. If you don't, then it's nothing.
Okay.
And the 4th of July, she called me.
Oh.
And we've been together ever since, really.
That's beautiful. So literally, she's the woman of your dreams.
Literally, she's the woman that God gave me. And he put it in my dream, and I can't deny her. I won't.
Oh, well, obviously you called.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, she called.
So how long have you guys been married now?
It'll be 3 years on the 8th of April.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm so glad that you could be with me today.
Yes.
Now, looking back, you know, you've had a little journey. Of course, marriage is a journey. What were your expectations of what marriage would be like when you first got married? Like, did you have expectations of what a wife should do, what a husband should do?
Well, at the time, I had sort of, and of course I was all wrong about it.
but tell me about all wrong part before you get to the good stuff.
I was just going by. I thought that I know God gave me my wife for my helpmate, but then I looked at it as, okay, maybe I should be the one to do everything. Then he started showing me different, that I don't have to do everything. This is why she's here. And she's equal. It's not behind, she's equal. She's beside me. She don't be in front of me, she don't be behind me, she be right there beside me step by step.
Beautiful.
And we make decisions. We don't always make the same decision. We have disagreements, but we come to a point, we leave it in God's hands when we can't make our own decisions. I just give it to God and then let him work it out and wait on it.
Exactly, and those are normal things, and that's what we want people to know. You're not always going to agree.
We're not going to always agree.
And I asked that question because so many people, traditionally, they come into marriage with, this is what I should do as a woman, as a wife, this is what I should do as a man, and it's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
But if you can embrace each other and embrace those decisions together and definitely have God in the middle of this marriage, it can be better.
Myself, I pray a lot. So, I mean, I'm the type of man, I wake up in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I just sit on the edge of the bed, I pray. My prayer is over my family.
Yes.
My prayer is mostly always over my family, because it's hard out here. It's not easy.
Yes.
And
it's not easy.
Even when you're young, you run across hurdles, and by being young, you think that you can handle them.
Yes.
You can't. Without Christ in your life and without your partner being in agreement with you, it's not going to work.
Definitely. So what are some of those things that you guys put into place that you try to say, okay, this is what we're going to have in our marriage to make sure that it works? Ms. Stagg.
Well, the first thing I think you need to put first is God. That's the first thing.
Beautiful.
You're not going to always agree. You're going to bump heads, of course, but you got to learn how to disagree but agree. And when it all comes down to it, your husband is still the head of your household. And he has in my household, he has the final say so. Even though I don't always agree with him, I still have to step back sometimes.
As he's laughing.
and let him be the head of the household.
I love that.
That's when them 2 o'clock prayers come in.
2 o'clock prayers, 3 o'clock prayers.
4 o'clock noonday.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
We have a lot of newlywed couples. The spring is coming, summer is coming. What advice would you give those couples that are looking to have something of what we all share?
The first thing, well, like I said, keep God first. But keep the outside people out of your house. That's the main thing. If
Amen.
Don't have especially your single friends. You have single friends talking about your marriage because they're single. You need to go
different conversations.
Exactly. and you have to pray together, read together, fast together.
Beautiful. I love it.
Stay together. It's a togetherness. It's one. It's not you're united then. And I mean, work as a team. That's the main thing.
Even when you ain't happy with the team, you still have to work at it. Because
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm always happy. I'm not always happy with her.
No.
But I love her. I'm always in love with her, but I'm not always happy with her.
Exactly.
Because we are two people and we have different
Two
thoughts.
complex people,
And we're different.
exactly.
We think differently. But what makes it even better when her thought and my thought come together as one, and we give it to God, and it works out. Oh man, that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's so beautiful.
I'm glad that you said it, because I wish couples would just say, you know, at the end of the day, you still love each other. You could disagree. I tell my husband, I'm not going to talk to you for 60 seconds. He'd be like, really? Really? And, you know, obviously I'm a talker, you know. And so, you know, that doesn't happen.
That's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Okay? But we want to make sure that, you know, we're going to communicate differently, but we got to learn good ways to communicate, and always remember to put God first and to make sure that you still love each other despite, and that you don't say things out of, you know, anger and meanness and vindictiveness and those type of things. Remember that this is your friend. This is somebody you love. This is not the enemy. This is love right here. Look at him. Anything else you guys would like to add to our newlywed couples, or just people who are married who are going through?
We stay together, pray together, and our family that pray together will stay together. Always put God first, no matter what it is. Put God first in your life, because without it, your life gonna be miserable. You stepping into a realm of something that you really don't really know about. You're learning each other.
Beautiful.
So in the process of learning each other, you need God.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Michael Stagg, thank you so much for being here. God bless you both. Continue to love each other. I love you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. It's Life Changing. We'll be right back. Time for me to speak into your life. Last week we talked about the single life. Today we're talking about marriage is good. And I told you that this segment was to be continued. So we're going to be talking about sort of some interesting things that are going to help you to understand relationship trust and jealousy, forgiveness, a necessary tool in any relationship. And of course that marriage is good. My belief is that marriage is good. Of course, you need a few tools. Marriage does not come that way, and most people who are married will tell you that it's not always easy. So we want to take that away and tell you it's not going to be easy always, but it's a good thing, and you can have a lot of fun in your marriage. Many of you want to get married when you're very young. Most of you women were planning your marriage at age 9 or earlier or later, depending on you. But I want you to know that we think about marriage. You talk to middle schoolers, high schoolers, they all still want to get married. And so I want to give you a little bit of information to help you see that this thing that we have going on is a good thing. The benefits for children. We know that there are benefits for children across the board, socially, emotionally, academic. Children do well when they're in a stable home. Okay, for women, the biggest one that I want people to know is that women are less neurotic. That means that you're not all over the place. You're not a busybody. You're here, you're there, you're in this person's business and this person's business. You are feeling good about yourself. You feel good. It's actually kind of sexy. Men, there's a lot of benefits for men. The biggest one that I want you to know is your health. Most of the time it's because we, the women, tell you have to go to the doctor, okay? And we make sure you eat right, okay? And so there's a lot of benefits for children, women, and men. Men, their marriage is a good thing. I want you to know that it's not perfect, but it's good. A lot of people look at the grass is greener on the other side, but I want you to know, I want you to be set in loving who you are and what type of relationship you're in. Don't start thinking, I should be single if you're married. And if you're single, thinking I should be married. Again, I want to take that anxiety out of this whole situation. And last week, I also mentioned the 2 books that I just wrote. And I want you to remember all of this information I'm going to give you comes from the book. So another thing that I want to touch on is jealousy. I always give these 2 concepts to my students, that you can be jealous and insecure, jealous and secure. Okay, what those things mean is that you can be the type of person who is secure with yourself. You know who you are, you love who you are, you love how you look, you love how you act, behave, speak, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but at the same time, the person you're in a relationship with does things to make you feel jealous. You can also be jealous and insecure. That means, yes, the person does something, or you feel insecure all the time. So even when nothing is happening, you think that there is something happening, a little bit more than usual. But I tell people you have to find that balance, because because if you love someone, you're going to be a little bit jealous because you don't want anybody messing with your stuff, right? Trust myths. There's a couple of things I want to point out. I want to move through because I want to be aware of how much I want to give you. People say, I should just be able to trust you. No, I want you to know, Dr. Perry says trust should be earned over time. That means you need to spend time getting to know each other. You need to date. You need to get to know each other over, I always say 2 years, 2 seasons, okay? See the seasons around 2 times because no one can lie to you for all that amount of time. You're going to see something, and if you take those rose-colored glasses off, you'll be able to see that person for who they are. Now, no one's going to be perfect, but you need to choose then if you want to be in a committed relationship with that person. Once lost, trust cannot be restored is another myth. It actually can. I know there's a lot of married couples, especially who've been through a lot of things, whether it be adultery or lying or those type of things. Now, it takes work, a lot of work on both parts, but it can be restored. You can't teach trust. Yes, you can. I'm doing it right now. Okay. Establish trust one person at a time. I want you to know that when you establish trust with one person, it actually helps you. So if you can actually have a healthy relationship, it actually will help you in the rest of your relationships. And last myth, trusting people is too risky. I want you to understand that not trusting is actually more risky because you're going to put yourself in a position where you don't trust anybody. All you're going to depend on is yourself. And even when you're in a relationship, it won't be good because you can't even trust the person. Trust. I got to go through this real quick. And my students always get on me because, I try to give them so much and they want so much more. And I tell them they have to read the book too. Who broke your trust? Who hurt you? I need you to think about that. Whether it be your mother, your father, your last boyfriend or girlfriend, who broke your trust? Because a lot of times we like to blame that on someone else. But I want you to understand there's a few things. In psychology, we have something called trust versus mistrust. We know that comes very early on. We decide if our parents are taking good care of us or not, and if we can actually trust their ability to do that. And we carry that with us throughout our childhood and our adulthood. But let me tell you, it's not even their fault. It's not your ex-boyfriend's fault, your ex-girlfriend's fault that you have trust issues. It's something that we all sort of have to deal with. So stop blaming other people. I want you to know that we fear it so much, okay? Because it hurts so much. Whenever you have to trust, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, one, because you love so much. I tell my students, just the fact that you love means that you're going to get yourself hurt. Understand that. Hurt, love, okay? Now, it shouldn't happen like that all the time or be intentional, but the fact that you pour your heart into something, that's why so many people stay so guarded. It's going to hurt sometimes. I want you to change one word. I'm going to give you a little tip and call it rely. Because sometimes even when you feel like, Dr. Perry, I can't trust this person, you can still rely on that person. Did they help you clean up the house? Did they help you with the kids? Did they show up when you really need them? You can rely on them. If you can look at the differences between the trust and the rely, you actually will see that you actually do have some trust in your life and in your relationship. So lastly, I got to tell you about forgiveness, because forgiveness is important. Because in order to experience trust, we must learn to forgive. One little tip I'm going to give you again is to learn how to forgive daily. Okay? And why are we going to do this? Because I need you to laugh again. I need you to mend those broken relationships that you want to keep. I want you to love again. Be able to open your heart and experience love again. I want you to live in peace. And in order to do that, you got to learn how to forgive daily. Don't take that stuff to bed. Don't take it into tomorrow. Learn how to forgive daily. Let some things go. And lastly, I want to say this, Colossians 3:13, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Whenever I get so to the point where it's hard for me to forgive other people, I think about how many times the Lord forgives me. I'm not perfect. I don't do everything right in my marriage, in my life, but God always forgives me. And so if you look at your relationships, whether it be intimate relationships or family relationships, in a way that God forgives you, it will give you the grace to try to forgive those people that you love as well. That's all I can give you today, but we'll be back next time on It's Life Changing. It's now time for our community resources. Now, in this segment, we've been talking about, or this episode, we've been talking about marriage is good. And so we had a wonderful couple on earlier, and apparently we have the teachers on now. And so I want to introduce Reverend Arnold and Reverend Mildred Harewood. Give them a hand. I chose a special topic for just this segment, and I'm calling it Making It Last. One of the classes that I teach, a relationship class, I actually do a Making It Last event at the end because I always bring in special guests because someone has to teach the young people, and some of them are not that young, about how to make it last, how to go through, how to push through some of those difficult moments. There are times when you want to give up on your relationship, on your marriage, but I wanted to bring you a couple today to share their real story about how they've gotten through being married for so long. And so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you, again, I love stories. So how did the two of you meet?
We met in New York in Bible study.
That's a beautiful place to meet. So you can meet a man in Bible study.
We was really it was more than Bible study. This is where we were educating ourselves to be preachers.
Okay.
And there she was.
You were in there flirting.
There she was at my side. Because my wife is from Suffolk.
Okay.
I'm from the island of Barbados.
Barbados, okay.
And there she is at my side, just as a friend. But something told me that this lady is going to be for me.
Oh.
And then we were friends for 3 years.
Beautiful.
I never got a kiss.
Did he try? No, he didn't try. Oh, that is good.
We were good friends, but one day she came to me and said, God sent her.
Oh.
And now here we are. We went through thick and thin, and we stood strong together through everything.
Yes.
There were days it was rough. There were days when it was beautiful. And we have traveled immensely. I took her to my island 34 times.
34 times.
And all over we traveled, and we enjoyed each other.
Yes.
Sometimes we have to sit and consider that, you know, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be things that is going to come up.
Yes.
And you have to learn.
Yes.
Okay? Sometimes you just put your hand up and say the blood of Jesus.
Yes, the blood of Jesus. Help us through.
But we stuck together through thick and thin.
Yes. And you've been married for how long now?
29 years. 29 years, August 12th.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, our anniversary is August 2. 29 years, that's beautiful. Yeah. So I know you have lots of nuggets and lots of wisdom, and I know you counsel other couples and try to mentor as well.
Yes, we do.
What are some of the things that you see in some of these relationships that's going on now? And is it different from what you experienced when you guys were dating?
Yeah, well, when we were dating, we had, first thing, we had God in front of us. And we was all about studying of God's Word.
Beautiful.
And then after we didn't even realize that God was putting us together until one night in the classroom, I looked at him and the Lord spoke to me, and I'm like, no. And he just kept persisting, you know, because I was a widow for 18 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
And my children had grown up.
Okay.
And so then it was time for the Lord to give me somebody, but I didn't appreciate who he had chosen for me because I have never been out of the United States.
Okay.
I'm from the South.
Yes.
And I don't understand all the different people in the world, you understand? Because I came from Suffolk. So
and you got comfortable.
Yeah,
with your family, friends, in your world.
Niche, you know? So, you know, but he was a good thing for me because he widened my scope. My understanding got broader. I learned millions of different kind of people, millions of different kinds of food. We traveled every which way, and you know, it was good for me.
Yes, yes.
So I really appreciate him because he really opened up my eyes to see that the world is not just Suffolk.
Yes. I love that. That's beautiful. Because I bet, you know, I can tell he had a lot of spunk, a lot of energy. And going to Barbados 34 times.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's beautiful.
But his mom was there, and when I married him, he had a mother, and she was a little elderly. And my mother died when I was 8.
Okay.
And my father died when I was about 21.
Oh, wow.
And so I made up in my mind
that I would never stand in the way or say anything against him visiting his mother.
Beautiful.
Because this is his mother.
This is his mother.
And and everybody feels certain ways about their own mother.
Yeah,
so therefore, you can't sit up and make an argument about somebody's mother.
No, you can't
So
be.
I decided
I can talk about it. You can't talk about it.
No. That's what I decided to do. So if he said we're going to Barbados in June for 2 weeks, we're going to Barbados in June
That's
for
beautiful.
2 weeks. When we come back, if I say we're going to Seattle for 2 weeks to see my children, he's going to Seattle for 2 weeks.
That's
and so we do back and forth, and that's the way you make life.
That's right. But you guys, what I'm sensing though, and what you're not saying, but I want people to see, is that you've become comfortable with one another. You don't have all that stuff going on where it's like, well, I'm not going to do this because I'm the man. I'm not going to do this because I'm the woman. I've noticed that you remove that.
Yes.
So now when you have a conversation, it's not because she's trying to get over on you or you're trying to get over. It's like, okay, my baby, my husband, my wife is just asking me this. They're telling me this. And so why not do it? And I think for a lot of young couples or couples who are struggling, they got all that stuff going on.
Right.
And they can't just submit, and I say submit, ladies, and I also mean men too, and just to that person. You don't have that stuff anymore.
No.
And I love that. So anything else that stands out when you counsel young couples that, seems to be an issue that we could give some answers to?
But I tell them, all the young couples, marriage is not a joke. You first of all, you seek God, and everything you do, you start trying to do it together.
Beautiful.
You pray together, you eat together, you talk together, you walk together, and when you first get married, you can't have everybody in your house, in your business, and you can't go out talking to all your friends about your husband, because this is your husband.
Exactly.
You can't just go yada yada.
And when it's all done and said, you're going to forgive him or her, and they're going to remember, and they're going to bring it up.
And you got to stay with him.
And you got to say, and they're going to be like, well, you going back to him? Or you going back to her? I thought you said, blah, blah, blah. See, you shouldn't have told me your business.
That's right.
Anything else that stands out?
Well, we counsel them, and actually we try to let them work together, do things together. It's a togetherness.
It is.
And if there's not a togetherness, there's going to be friction.
Yes.
Okay, so we actually ask them to pray together, do things together, and love each other. And don't bring the third party in your business. And just pray and ask God to keep you moving day by day in His ways.
Yes, I love that. And I have something, they mentioned togetherness a few times. I have something in my book that I call the 3 T's. And that's time. You need to spend time together. Time, not online time, not phone time. I mean, you can incorporate things, but you need physical time where you're doing things together, whether you're mopping the floor together, whether you're just in the house together, you're just spending time together, doing fun things together. But also you need that time. But then there's that togetherness where you're actually doing things together, and then there's talking. You need to talk. You can't get to know one another if you're not actually talking. And I know for a lot of men, sometimes, people think, well, men don't want to talk. Well, men like to talk what they like to talk about. So when he talks about things, it's important that we listen. Women, we over talk. So be careful that you're not taking up all the conversation. Okay, I'm just saying. So make sure you take the time to get to know each other, you spend time together, and that you actually talk. Those are investments in your marriage. Thank you so much, Reverend Harewood, for being here and sharing your wisdom. I wish you so much blessings upon your life as you continue to do what you do in our church. And I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching It's Life Changing. We'll see you next time.